You know, every city tells a story, and a lot of the time, that story is written right there in its buildings, the materials they used, the different styles, even the way the streets are laid out. Today, we're going to head way up to the edge of the Arctic to unpack a really fascinating story of survival and innovation.
But first, just for a second, think about your own world. The buildings you see every single day. What are they made of? What kind of history do they hold? Just kind of keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this.
Because in this one city in Finland, Oulu, the architecture tells this incredible story. It's a story about a remote outpost that had to fight the elements, completely reinvent itself over and over again, and somehow became a global hub for technology.
All right, so let's start at the very beginning. Oulu was founded way back in 1605. And it wasn't some grand capital city. It was a rugged, super practical trading town built for one reason: to survive the harsh northern climate. And its whole economy? It was built on just one thing: tar. Seriously, you can think of tar as like the oil of the 17th century. Back in the age of wooden ships, tar was the stuff that kept entire navies from rotting and sinking. And Oulu, sitting right at the mouth of a river that led to huge forests, was the perfect spot to make it and ship it out.
So the city's first buildings were all about that purpose. Everything was made of wood. I mean, it was everywhere, it was warm, and it was easy to build with. The design wasn't fancy at all. It was purely functional. We're talking simple houses, big warehouses down by the river, and these narrow little streets built for business, not for looks.
But here's the thing. When you build an entire city out of wood in a cold place where everyone is using open fires to stay warm and to see at night, well, that comes with one enormous risk. And this brings us to the main conflict in Oulu's early days.
Just picture it, a whole city made of timber, with houses packed super close together to block the wind. That dense, wooden world meant that the biggest threat wasn't the snow or the cold. It was the constant danger of fire. And in 1822, that threat became a devastating reality. The Great Fire of Oulu was this catastrophic event that destroyed almost the entire city. It just wiped centuries of history off the map in a single blaze. It was basically a total reset. But out of those ashes came this incredible opportunity. The old, chaotic city with its narrow lanes was just gone. And in its place, architects planned a whole new Oulu. They designed a wide, grid-like street plan specifically to act as fire breaks. And they brought in a completely new, much more elegant style of architecture.
And that new style, it was called neoclassicism. It was super popular across Europe at the time, and it was all about order, symmetry, and a kind of grandeur that was inspired by ancient Greek and Roman design. For Oulu, this wasn't just a new look. It was a big statement that the city was becoming something more than just a dusty trading post.
And you can see its key features all over the rebuilt city. These clean, symmetrical lines, tall columns, and light-colored walls. The most famous example is the Oulu Cathedral. It was rebuilt right after the fire, and it still stands today as this perfect monument to that whole transformative time.
Now, this new design was a huge step, but Oulu's evolution was far from over. As the 1800s turned into the 1900s, the city started changing again. This time, the drivers were industry, new technology, and this growing sense of a unique national identity.
And of course, the architecture evolved right along with it. Two really distinct styles popped up. First was National Romanticism, which was very emotional and used natural materials like stone and wood to celebrate Finnish folklore. Then that was followed by Functionalism, which was pretty much the exact opposite. It was logical, modern, and stripped away all the decoration to focus on just efficiency and clean lines.
And this is what's so cool. This new architecture was a direct answer to the local environment. I mean, the huge windows you see in functionalist buildings weren't just a design trend, they were a brilliant practical way to get as much precious daylight as possible during Finland's long, dark winters.
Okay, so fast forward past the Second World War. Oulu is about to go through what might be its most dramatic transformation yet. The city completely reinvented itself again, going from a city of industry to a global center for something totally new: technology.
The thing that kicked it all off happened in 1958 with the founding of the University of Oulu. This one single event turned the city into a magnet for research, education, and innovation. It totally set the stage for the tech boom that was coming.
And this new tech era needed a totally new style of building. The architecture of the tech boom was all about glass and steel. These buildings were designed to be flexible and efficient, with big, open spaces that were meant to encourage collaboration,
a perfect physical reflection of Oulu's new identity as a forward-thinking, innovative hub.
And that brings us right up to today, and to what is honestly the final, most surprising chapter in Oulu's architectural story. This is where the city looks to its future by reconnecting with its most distant past.
The story really does come full circle. I mean, after centuries of moving towards brick, then concrete, then steel and glass, Oulu is once again embracing its original building material, wood.
But hold on. This isn't about going back to old wooden shacks. We're talking about modern wooden architecture. This uses high-tech, engineered wood that's incredibly strong and, get this, fire-resistant. It's a sustainable choice, it's part of this global move toward greener building, and it just perfectly connects the city's history as a wooden town with its future as a leader in tech.
So when you look back, you can literally see the layers of history right there in the city, right? It started as a wooden tar town, was reborn in the neoclassical style after that huge fire, evolved through its industrial and tech phases, and now it's here today with these modern wooden designs that honor its roots. Each of these layers isn't just a different style. It's a chapter in a much bigger story. It's the story of a city that has consistently faced huge challenges, whether it was fire, the harsh climate, or big economic shifts, and has responded every single time with creativity and just this remarkable resilience. It all really boils down to this idea. From simple wooden houses to smart, sustainable buildings, Oulu's architecture reflects resilience, creativity, and adaptation. Which, brings us right back to where we started. Now that you've seen all the different layers of Oulu's history, what about your own city? What story of survival, of change, of innovation is written in the walls all around you?